That was a splendid rendition of our opening song by the Queasy Quilts.
Ooh.
They are a Beatles ripoff band from the UK.
Ah. You see, Pepto-Bismol used to open for them, but then they got better than them, so now they're playing bigger shows. So the Queasy Quilts always have a rough time.
Pepto being the famous blues guitarist from the 70s.
Yeah, Greasy Pepto.
Yeah. Yep. How's your week been, sir?
It's been a good one. It's been pretty busy, but it's been good. Kind of nice in a way. How about you?
Yeah, it's been busy. This time of year, I start getting pet portrait commissions coming in a little bit more because people are getting them for the holidays.
Yeah.
It's always a good time of the year, but yeah, gets pretty busy.
Yep, it's definitely starting to get a little cooler here.
Yeah.
The chill is in
How's
the air.
fall looking up there?
Oh man, the last couple of weeks have been amazing. I don't know what it is, but we've had color for like weeks and weeks, and for 2 weeks there, it was just everything was changing at a totally different speed. So like
Yeah.
for a while, like everything was green except for just like the edges were starting to turn yellow, and then it was like just bright yellow and red, like, and it's like morphing everywhere, kind of gradients of color, like just insane. It's been a great year. Everybody said it was going to be bad because everything was kind of out of sync, but it actually
Yeah.
came out better than ever. It was awesome.
No, yeah, it's looked really beautiful, autumnal kind of vibes going on down here.
Mm-hmm.
Um, and then there's the added spooky element of tons of smoke in the sky. Um, I think it was announced 8 hours ago that the Cameron Peak fire, which is burning just west of me in Fort Collins, is now the largest wildfire in Colorado history.
Damn.
The blaze has burned through more than 164,000 acres and is 56% contained. So I've had some friends or friends of friends, they've needed to evacuate their houses, kind of more by Horsetooth Reservoir, which is right by
Oh yeah.
Fort Collins. And yeah, so it's just been smoke consistently
Dang, I didn't
for like, I
realize.
feel like a month.
Yeah, I didn't realize it was that close. I remember going to Horsetooth. That's right there.
Yeah,
Dang.
yep,
It was definitely quite smoky there when I came and visited.
definitely. So we'll get like one day that's it's pretty nice, and then I'll wake up and it'll just look orange outside my window, which totally fits October, but it's
Yeah.
pretty spooky.
Yeah. It's very spooky for the lungs.
If only we'd raked the forest floors.
Yeah, you got to remember to get out there and do that.
Yeah, because that's definitely the problem.
Don't rake your leaves at home. Go rake the forest, because the leaves at home, the birds need it. It's good for the birds if you leave your leaves. Be lazy.
Yeah,
Not in
there's
the
quite a bit
forest.
of wildlife that does well with that.
Yeah, I was just saying, like, yeah, it's time to rake the leaves, and somebody was like, no, don't do that. I was like, oh, really? Okay, cool. Thanks for the reason. Sweet.
Yeah, the United States needs to do a lot of things, but one thing that I think we could all agree on is perhaps we can design our lawns and all that in a way that's beneficial to the environment you're in. It's always been kind of crazy living in Utah or even parts of Colorado where people demand to have like a nice green lawn.
Oh yeah, it's so
And
weird.
it's just like, it's totally not what the environment is here. You should just put in some rocks.
It's a giant waste of water.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Put in a tree that, does well in that kind of environment. Put some rocks down or
There's all kinds of greenery that
like,
just
yeah.
does better. Yeah. I totally get having a patch of grass if you know, are actually gonna like use it for,
Yeah, like go
hanging
sit on
out
it or
and
whatever.
sports and whatnot. But yeah, the whole entire like every inch of your property, a little crazy.
Yeah. And I mean, I don't feel like I'm that crazy about it. It's like I definitely like see golf courses and people are like those just shouldn't even exist and I'm like, "Oh, well, calm down." You know, people come in and pay for it and this is a golf course. Like what it is what it is. But
Yeah.
I don't know, it's like do you really need a huge lawn in a desert? I don't think so.
Nope. Um, I don't know. And as far as golf courses go, I do agree with you, but I always do wish that like one day a week they'd let us just go play disc golf on those things. They're so nice.
Yeah. I was gonna say like that could be a good way to pull in some money, and then I'm like, it's a golf course.
Oh yeah.
It's a bunch of rich people going there. They're probably fine.
Yeah, like I'll pay more money so those poor people can't come
Yeah, I could see that happening. Go back to the clubhouse in between lines of coke. They're just like, well, we got to keep these disc golf kids out of here.
here. Exactly. Totally passive rule. Yep. It's like skiing and snowboarding.
We got to find a way to cancel that school dance.
uh, so Paul Rudd is definitely the disc golfer.
Yeah, definitely. He's just so charming. Like, hey, I just want to throw disc, man.
Just let me toss, bro.
Let me toss disc. You're not being D's.
Uh,
But
I would be
anyways,
first in line for this movie.
oh yeah, we're writing the script now. Hopefully, Paul Rudd's listening.
Tickle the
Our
chance.
viewership in YouTube just went up a crazy amount
Oh
on our
yeah.
last video. We were looking at the analytics, and first couple ones, it's expected for where we're starting. It's like 9 views, 13 views, whatever. And
Mm-hmm.
then our last one, last time I checked it, it said 85.
Wow. That's even more.
Yeah, it was like 70 or something. So maybe it's a glitch. I was shocked by it. I was like, wow. But that being said, if we suddenly kind of almost got some new listeners, I suppose I could mention real quick in line with this wildfire thing that I sell pet portraits, prints of them. So let me explain this better. I do a commission of a pet portrait for people, and that kind of helps me keep my art business going.
Mm-hmm.
But any prints of it, I'm donating profits to firefighters. So I just figured that was a tiny little way to contribute and help out with that because I don't think this is going to be a 1 year thing. It's going to
Nope.
keep happening and be worse and worse until we start doing something about climate change. And climate change is not political, so we can talk about that all you want.
Yes, indeed. And it is definitely a big part climate change, and it's also just, US fire management over the years has not been the best, and now we're realizing we kind of did it wrong a little bit, and we're going to pay a little bit of a price for a while. There's going to be some big burns, but hopefully we'll be able to move ahead after that and maintain the forest properly. Actually, they do need to burn every once in a while.
Yeah. Well, and that's what a lot of deniers will bring up. They'll be like, oh, "It's natural; it's supposed to burn," and you're like, "Yeah, not this large, this often, and for this long."
Oh yeah, it's definitely. I mean, that's a small indicator that climate change is happening. There's plenty of other more alarming things going on with, ice in the ocean and stuff and
Sure,
all kinds of stuff. You can go read about it if you don't want to feel good.
it is true. Um, yeah, it's I think it's probably worth mentioning. I'm always surprised by people that just don't know this, or the people that are supposed to know it, they just don't mention it. It's like the reason we say climate change now rather than global warming isn't that global warming isn't happening. It's just a lot of scientists thought global warming was giving off the wrong image of what it's supposed to look like. And so then anybody who denied it would just be like, it's going to get cold. What about that crazy blizzard? It's doesn't look like global warming to me.
Exactly.
And you're like,
People are
well,
dumb.
it's
They have to change
climate
it.
change. So basically, your climate, and there's a difference between climate and weather. Your climate will have crazier, wilder spikes of different types of weather patterns.
Yeah. Like we had how many hurricanes this year down in the Gulf and stuff? Like
Hmm.
just an insane amount. Way
Yeah.
different than normal.
So I guess I'm just trying to say is like, yeah, we're gonna have more tornadoes, more hurricanes, larger hurricanes, and we're gonna have crazy blizzards because of global warming.
Yeah.
It will make cold shit worse.
Yep.
Anyways,
Yeah. The
but we're not scientists. We're just repeating the little bit we know that 95% of the scientific community has consensus on. And the
exactly.
only other thing I'll say in relation to that is a scientific consensus isn't a bunch of scientists patting each other on the back saying, I agree. It's all these different scientists through various studies and research. All their research and studies line up pointing in the same direction.
Yeah.
So
This
one
is
person who's studying soil is finding out this thing that's changing. One person who studies the atmosphere is finding change. And they're all like, wow, the earth is getting warmer. Why? Greenhouse effect, CO2, methane, all that stuff we're pumping into the air. It's not that complicated. You can make a greenhouse in your yard and watch this effect.
exactly. And
But anyway,
we know it's happening, and we know it is large corporations doing the most of it. If
yeah.
all if all people banded together and did all the little things you see, reduce your carbon footprint, little tips. Even if we all did that, we would still only bring it down a certain amount. Like it's gonna take large scale change. We're gonna have to demand it from in our products we buy and everything to really get something to happen. So
Oh,
that's
and
how
that's the
you
other
gotta.
element too. It's a lot of this is on the corporations.
Oh yeah,
They need to change their practices, and we definitely got to switch to sustainable energy. Us as individuals, like, I'm not going to drive this week. Like, cool for you, but it's not that huge of an impact. Every little bit counts, but what we really need is corporations and governments to change their behavior on the mass production scale that they operate at.
yep.
And I don't know. I suppose I didn't mean to do that rant, but yeah, having a wildfire that close to you and constantly going, I don't know.
Little
And then having that thing that we don't talk about right now, completely not talking about it.
yeah.
Either side, that's definitely a both sides thing.
Oh yeah.
They'll talk about climate change, but when they get like a presidential debate or anything, it's just like, where's climate change?
This is a thing. We need to.
Kamala Harris, there's like, we're not going to go after fracking. It's like you absolutely should.
Yeah.
But no, wait, we're not talking about that.
Yep. We'll get there. We'll get there.
Yeah, well, we're
I
getting there.
I I think the answer to all this is like you said. We are not scientists. What we do
Mm-hmm.
know is how to look at something and how to study it and decide if it is actually true. You can discern that on your own, and it's usually as easy as a quick Google. I have
Mm-hmm.
done so much fact checking in the last couple of months about things that we can't talk about and all kinds of other stuff. Just like I just see something, I'm like, that sounds like BS. I'm gonna Google it. Bam! First thing that pops up is like, hey, fact check. This thing is wrong. Like it's that easy,
Yeah.
and so everybody needs to do that on everything they read and hear and say. Especially, don't share it unless you've actually like checked it out. And Yeah, vote for
There's
people
a
who don't lie.
yeah. There's a hilarious Tom Segura bit from one of his stand-ups where he's talking about he was watching a movie with his dad. I think it was The Fugitive, and he's like, "Hey, buddy, do you know that Tommy Lee Jones is gay?" And he's like, "Oh, no, I didn't know that." So then he started going around telling other people that Tommy Lee Jones is gay, and then one guy just out of years later almost was like, "No, he's not. What the hell are you talking about?" And he's just like, "Where'd you hear that?" My dad told me. He's just like, "So you don't have any information or facts that he's actually gay?" Like, nah, I just went around telling everybody that. And it's
Yep.
just, it's the same thing as sources. It's always check your sources. And you're not going to find one site or paper that doesn't have some element of bias. I remember I spent
Mhm.
like almost a whole year trying to find pure, unbiased news, and it's not going to happen. So I like to read whatever I normally read, and then I'll go over, look at Huffington Post, which is basically a liberal rag on the internet, but
Mhm.
covers just about everything. And then I go over to Reuters, which is slightly conservative. I'll check out The Hill, which is definitely conservative.
Yeah.
Completely, almost throw my computer on the ground if I get anywhere near Breitbart.
Oh yeah. No way.
Vox is very liberal, so I don't even bother with that. And then
Yeah.
I try to like go to BBC or something, kind of get a foreign perspective.
That's how everybody should do it. Look at that one media bias chart and see where your source is. All those are up in the top, the ones you mentioned. Those are all decent sources.
I Anytime I come across one of those charts, I post it, and there's almost always one person who comes on. They're like fake, and like, well, that's constructive.
Yeah. Good on you.
So yeah, it's like you got to check your sources and defer to. I think that's something that we're not doing so great in the United States right now, and I don't feel like we've been doing great at it over the last 20 to 30 years. Is we should be listening to experts.
Yeah. That's exactly it. There's a difference between, yeah, whatever you want to call fake news and all that, and just a scientist saying something and a bunch of other scientists agreeing with them. Just because one random doctor is like, actually, it's all fine. You just need to take this, you know,
Mm-hmm.
and it's craziness. Yeah, one person does not outdo the overwhelming consensus.
Mm-hmm. I think I had an analogy that I used at a after school program I used to work at up in Seattle. One of the kids was asking me about something along those lines. It's just like, and I can't even remember, so I won't bother making something up. But the analogy, we were sitting in the gym, and I was like, "All right, look at it this way: if you had all the Olympic athletes from the NBA telling you that they're going to teach you how to dunk and this is how you do it, and then you have your buddy Connor over there telling you no, they're all wrong. Let me tell you how to dunk. Who are you going to listen to?" He's just
Exactly.
like, he might be your best buddy, but what does he know about dunking?
Yeah.
He's like four feet tall.
Yeah.
And yeah, I don't know. It's people just seem like, nope. Watched a couple YouTube videos. I got it all figured out. Sheeple.
Yeah. Actually, the math make it worse. So,
Yeah,
what?
and see, that's what's kind of crazy. There's an inherent truth that life is politics. Every element of life has some kind of element of politics to it.
Unfortunately,
Politics is simply just people interacting with other people
it's true.
at its basis level. But yeah, when we're saying we're not going to talk about politics, we're obviously talking about this sixth party system we're going through in the United States, and that's what we mean. But that's kind of what's crazy about this stage we're at is we're talking about wildfires and climate change, and that's talking about politics.
It is.
Talking about having to check your sources and go into different sites and cross-checking, and that's politics now.
Oh yeah. Many people will be like, "Yeah, you must be a liberal." Checking sources. Yep.
Listen to these losers.
Ugh.
I only need to read one story, and there it is. It's in my brain. Why would they need to read it 5 times? 5 different places.
The Lord done told me climate change ain't real because it gets cold sometime.
You know what? Hopefully this doesn't offend everybody.
If this
I would have thought that Christians would be all about climate change and global warming. They're like, oh, see, end of the world. Jesus is coming.
some of them are.
Well, actually, no. As soon as that fell out of my mouth, I realized, oh, that's what it is. They're just, oh, well, that's what it is, and we'll just keep denying it so it keeps happening. We wouldn't want to do anything about this.
Nope.
Not be like shepherds of the earth or anything. We want to see it all die.
Yeah, bring on the end times. Get it done. Which I think it even says something in there about that. You're not supposed to do that.
But wouldn't it, and I mean, I'm sure that's not every Christian, of course, but wouldn't it be like, oh, let us be shepherds of the earth? I'm paraphrasing whatever that thing is.
Yeah.
And wouldn't you want to be like caught cleaning up when Jesus comes back?
Oh, yeah.
You're just like, oh, what? Oh, hey, you're here, JC? I was
picking up some
planting trees. Yeah. Recycling. What have you been up to, JC? He's just like, it's pretty radical how you're recycling right there. I dig that. I'm like, cool, geez, JC, let's go surfing.
Fist bump Christ, and there you go.
Dude, they're going to be the band that does our song next week.
Done.
Fist bump Christ. They're from California.
You remember the one guy that made their first flyer was dyslexic, and they had a lot of angry people show up to bump Fist Christ.
Oh yeah. All right. Well, we just spent a lot of time talking about politics.
None of it what should be political.
None of the
but
stuff.
Unfortunately,
Yeah.
is.
Yeah. So, well, let's hop on to something a little different. What you got for me this week? Oh, we could do Octobermoviefest as well.
Yeah, let's. Well, do you want the random? Let me just toss this idea at you, and then
Okay.
then you will get started on the spoopy movies.
All right.
Maybe you already heard about it, but Elon Musk has finally brought the cost of the Tesla down. So the Model S is cutting it down. Have you heard about this already?
Well, buddy, I'm not that big of a car guy. That might be because I've never owned a car.
Word? Me neither.
So I think I'm out of the loop a little bit. I feel like
a weird car guy, but kind of. What were you saying?
it keeps me out of the loop. I think even if you're just a rando, just any kind of car, just driving around, you're just inherently have that much more car information, and you probably pick it up better when it's in the news.
Yeah.
Like a car commercial on a screen for me is just like, like doesn't mean anything to me. And you're like, oh, they just changed the design. It's and what, 4 horsepower? I don't even know how many horsepowers there are.
There's a lot in some of them. So I agree with you on all that. Like I'm not like a hardcore car guy. I do like watching like the shows, some of them, not all of them, but there's a few of the car shows I do enjoy watching, even though I just not anything I'm ever going to spend too much money on. When I go car shopping, I'm looking for the cheapest one. Although I do want a Tesla. I've ridden in one and they're cool. And their new starting price is $69,000. $69,420. So he did the funny internet numbers for the price of it. And it is it's a really cool vehicle. I don't know if you've ever gotten in like a really fast like gas powered car, but
I think I've been in a Tesla.
oh,
I
you have
mean,
been in
once
a
again,
Tesla,
it's a thing I'm not totally paying attention to,
like in
but
Uber.
it would be like an Uber. I think my buddy's stepdad had one, or maybe it was like, well, those are like both gas and electric, right?
No, that's a Prius is the one
As
that's
a Prius. Oh, we'll see. Yeah, I don't.
Tesla.
I feel
You would
like I
have to
have been though.
it's you'd have to have been in one in like the last like 2 years. It's still pretty new, probably.
Oh,
But
really?
yeah,
I okay. Yeah, I'm just screwing it up then. I don't know.
I rode in one a couple years back, like one of the fancier ones. Uh, I think I don't think it was the S. I think it was the other one. And and it was with a person that was like giving me a ride. It wasn't like an Uber or anything. So they were all like, "You want to see what this thing can do?" And I was like, "Sure." And suddenly we were going 90, like zero, like just bam, just like a gunshot, just pushed back into the seat. They have more get up and go than any gas powered car. Like most gas powered cars. I'm sure there's some top of the line crazy thing that can also do that, but
Mm-hmm.
yeah, man, just rockets. It's
They're
pretty
pretty
fun.
quiet.
Yeah, completely quiet. Well, not completely, but way quieter than a gas powered one.
I uh, I hear that that's a major complaint for car folks. Is
They like the noise.
they like the sound of the engine and all that business, and I always thought that was kind of silly.
Yeah.
I was like, well, yeah, okay,
Well, too
you
bad.
don't get to be as loud and obnoxious.
And that's the whole thing I do. I like cars. I like old cars. I like this Tesla thing. It's cool, but all of it is not great for the whole climate change thing we were talking
That's
about.
what I'm
So.
saying. Well, I feel like it keep them around and work on them and tune them up. Like that is a great element of American culture. Just don't
Yeah.
make it your main mode of transportation. Is all.
Yeah, and we kind of need to get that mindset back with like everything. Like we never should have ditched the TV repairman. Like the old TVs were, we need to improve the technology, but we should be doing it slower and try to like keep it around for longer because we're gonna be
Mm-hmm.
hitting a wall here. Maybe not even soon, but at some point.
Oh yeah. The I was actually kind of a big fan of the Tesla truck.
I thought that looked awesome.
Yeah, I feel like that's almost like being a fan of the Cleveland Browns, though. It's just like, really? Yeah, yeah. Like some people seem to hate it, and I was like, I think it's awesome. It looks like the future.
Exactly. It's because you don't have robot eyes.
Yeah.
You like it when
I
you got those.
yeah. So maybe that I've had that crazy idea in my head. When I make more money one day, my first car will be a Tesla truck.
Nice. Yeah, I think they're badass.
I'm just waiting for the future to get here. That's why I haven't gotten a car.
I have never wanted a car more than I wanted that Tesla because I was like, the future is wow. Look at
Yeah.
it. Like it drove itself. It was doing all the lane change things, but it also showed that it's not like totally the future yet because like there was like an overpass shadow across the road and it
Mm-hmm.
it thought it was a wall, so it like slammed on the brakes for a second.
Yeah.
It's a little like, whoa, what the hell is that? Oh, shadow fake out. And yeah, but the only liquid in there is the windshield washer, and the windshield's automatic. It detects rain and
Mm.
and how much rain to like adjust the speed. It's craziness.
Wow. Oh yeah. We must embrace the future.
Hmm.
I would like to throw at least my hat in the ring. There's another podcast I listen to. It's Christina P when she's on Dr. Drew's podcast,
Oh yeah.
and they've been talking about they want a rational revolution. We just need to like bring rationality back because everybody's just getting conspiratorial and making nonsense up and thinking with their emotions and not with their brains.
Yep. Like
And we
stop
gotta get rational back.
like stop listening to people, ignore whatever they have to say as far as like anything that's not just the facts of what they're saying, debate those Ignore the trolls. Just yeah,
Read news separately from social media. And then when you're on social media, you can block anybody you want.
yeah. If they start sharing bullshit, it's back. Goodbye.
So yeah, maybe I'll run into you in real life and we'll get along fine, but don't like Instagram you. I
Mm-mm.
guarantee you there's people that like me a little bit, but the way I run my Facebook or my Instagram, they're like, I'm out of here. It's like I
Yeah,
can't deal with the stuff this guy posts, and that's completely fine.
yeah. That's how it's so easy to just unfollow somebody, and
Yeah,
no
you
one
do
has to
you,
know.
boo.
Exactly.
It'll make you happier. Get less people in your life, less people's constant streams of thought bombarding your brain.
Yep. I like Instagram. I have been much like leaning that way more than Facebook, just because it's like pictures. I don't even have to look at what they say if I don't want to.
Sometimes, yeah, sometimes people got something to say, but it seems to be a lot more measured on
Yeah,
Instagram than Facebook.
indeed.
That reminds me of a thing, actually. It's a concept we can talk about because it's like a kind of a core way of living for me.
Hmm.
You remember my concept of the core
Like
as far as like
acquaintances.
interrelationships with people?
Yeah, yeah.
Yeah, I like to look at my social life as those like charts you would see in science class with the earth cut in half, and you could see the core and the mantle,
Hmm.
inner mantle and outer mantle, or like, I can't remember. It's been a minute since I looked at one of those.
That's right. That's right.
And then magma,
Magma.
then the crust, and then the atmosphere. And then there's fucking space. And
Way
for
out there.
me, there's only like a couple people in space. Like you're dead to me. Get away from me.
Don't
I don't want to hear one thing about you anymore.
don't even touch my crust.
Yeah. But most people are in the atmosphere, and that's just everybody. It's like, hey, you're just there, and I don't really know you, but we need the atmosphere. It's really nice. And all that. And then the crust is kind of like, okay, that's like you can recall their name, even if it was somebody you went to school with, like fifth grade. And they'd be
Yeah.
like, oh, yeah, how are you doing? Then when you get into the magma, that's all your close associates and not, yeah, just associates. You don't really hang out. Just people in your life that you know, like the nice lady at the coffee shop or,
Oh yeah.
anybody.
I mean,
Then you get
Logan's
into
got a big mantle.
yeah, and then you get into is it the inner mantle, then the core?
Yeah.
Yeah, inner mantle is friends, but you're really not that super close. Like you maybe go meet up at the bar, hang out at parties.
Hmm.
You maybe wouldn't go visit them if they lived in another state, kind of thing.
Yeah.
But then, yeah, you get into that core, man, and I like to keep that core small because there's times in my life where I've tried to jam a lot of people in the core. It overheats it, man. It's like the plot to the movie 2012. It's going to just destroy the magnetic connection to the crust and everything's going to collapse.
Yeah. You got to keep the core solid,
Mm-hmm.
closely bonded.
Lots of nickel, right?
Yeah.
Nice.
And iron, maybe.
Maybe I really don't know. I hope I pulled that out of my ass and I'm correct.
Once again, we are not scientists.
We are
If
not.
any geologists are listening and are like, what the hell? Please be on our show.
Write us at fakoshka@gmail.com and educate us. That's why we had our buddy Neil on that one episode. Not only was it fun to talk about movies, but it's like, oh, space stuff with Neil. Like, he just definitely knows more about that than us.
Indeed.
And then if I were in a room with him and then a real astrophysicist came in, and then I think Neil would join me in listening to that guy.
Exactly.
Anyways, so that initial point, the core, I just try to think of your relationships like that and just like, oh man, is this gonna turn into the plot of the movie The Core, where like some people from the crust come in and try to blow up Your inner core, like, oh, I
They
can't have that.
they divide the core, the whole thing goes.
Yep.
Yeah.
So I think those listening understand what I'm saying.
Yeah.
Do you want to hop into these movies real quick?
Yeah. What you watch this week?
All right, Octobermoviefest. The next film I watched after last week was Hereditary. Have you seen that?
I have not. I don't think so.
I was wondering if I had forced that one on you.
I'm gonna go because now that I say that, I'm like, wait a minute. Did you make me watch that? I'll look it up. See. Go ahead though.
If I haven't, it's definitely like, oh boy, that's going on the list. That's like, I've seen it quite a bit now, actually. It's become like one of my modern favorites. It's like become a classic for me.
Yeah, the new one. I don't think I have.
Oh boy. Well, we're doing that, man.
Okay.
And it's like, as many people that have reviewed the film say, because you really don't want to give too much of anything away, it's just a really surprising study in grief. Like, not total like fear or like jump scary type stuff. It's like the whole plot is soaked in grief. And it's really impressive on that level. And the acting's great. And it just, yeah, it makes some decisions that are, yeah, a little different. And it's just, anyway, it's every October. That's like one I need to watch now. And Toni Collette, who's the main actress in it, should have got an Oscar, but oh well. That's on Amazon. And oh, you'll enjoy this. Most of it was shot in Utah.
Oh, interesting.
It has a very Utah vibe, and you'll see what I mean when we watch it.
Boy.
Yeah, that's the other scary part. Then I moved on to Hocus Pocus.
Good one.
You've seen it.
Yeah, I've seen that one.
I'd be shocked if you're like, oh no, never seen that one. I think my first sexual attraction, even before I even understood what that was Sarah Jessica Parker in that movie.
Oh yeah, nice.
Yeah, just something about the way she was acting. I was a young lad. I was like, man, I really like that witch. The other two, like, I don't know, they're evil, but something about that one.
Yeah.
So that's a classic for me as well, because it does kind of bring me back to that boyish wonder of Halloween and Sarah Jessica Parker.
Nice.
She gets too much of a bad rap, dude. Some people say she's like, oh, she's got a horse face. I'm like, I want to lick that horse. Anyway, that movie's streaming on Disney.
Disney Plus, okay. I need to
watch it. We're gonna talk about Disney in a bit here. Actually, remind me of that.
Okay.
But we'll move on real quick. The only other one I've watched this week is An American Werewolf in London. Have you seen that?
No.
It's a man, double feature then, man.
Okay.
Gonna have to tie you to the couch.
Is that one spooky?
It's a perfect blend of like horror and comedy.
Nice.
It's a classic. Two dudes go backpacking in Europe. They're in like northern UK. Werewolf attacks the friend, kills him, and then the werewolf attacks the other guy and gives him the bite, but then the werewolf dies. So he has the bite of the werewolf, so he's going to become one. And then his friend comes back as a dead apparition with like his skin rotting, which is like awesome practical effects.
Nice.
And he's just like, I'm going to be in limbo on Earth until you die. Like, we have to kill the werewolf that made you, or the last werewolf or something.
Nice.
And so throughout the film, he starts like killing people. And they come back as ghosts that are like bothering him when he's just like a regular guy. Hooks up with a pretty hot nurse. It's just a great movie.
Is that the movie that Warren Zevon song's about?
Warren Zevon?
Yeah.
I don't know. What song's that?
The Werewolves of London?
I don't know. Maybe.
That's a
Um,
that's a interesting jam.
I've actually. That's odd you mentioned him because he was played at work the other day, and I was like, oh, he did that song. And then there's a couple other ones. I'm like, this is pretty cool. But
Yeah,
I had never really listened to him. And yeah, that was just last week.
weird how
Weird.
that happens, right? It happens to
Yep.
me all the time, stuff like that.
Um, but yeah, I think An American Werewolf in London won some awards for the special effects.
Oh, nice.
Yeah, so if for nothing else, you got to watch it for the special effects. And they have all kinds of songs that are like moon themed
Mm-hmm.
coming in through the whole movie, which is really great. I'll try to look that up in a bit here. But you have not. So you've seen Hocus Pocus. You haven't seen the other two.
Nope.
All right. So that's going on your list.
Nice.
We have an ongoing movie list where I show Kellen these films I feel like he needs to see because I am definitely a movie geek.
Yep, and I'm behind on a lot of legendary films.
Oh yeah. Um, but I can't show you this list. It's a private list between friends. So if you're listening and you haven't seen any of those, all of them are classics, totally different vibes. American Werewolf in London is on HBO Max, so
Ah,
those are all on different streaming services.
yeah.
And
Get
yeah,
all the friends' codes. Hit up all the friends and neighbors.
yeah,
Get their
just
logins.
sharing is caring. Um,
I wonder how if they would catch on if there was like, how's there's only 5 subscribers, but the whole internet's watching this.
so any movies you caught for October Movie Fest?
Oh, I haven't watched a full horror movie. No, I've been watching some other. Been on a Cohen Tarantino alternating uh thing going with one friend, but haven't.
Those are great.
Oh yeah, it's very fun to go back and forth between those two directors. But
I love to get into a Tarantino hole and
mhm,
Coen Brothers hole.
it's nice. But I need to get some spooky movies on. I did catch a little bit of an old made for TV Disney movie called
Mm.
Twitches, which could be so many different things. Not teenage witches.
Now, was that like Halloween Town?
I what? Wait, is that a Disney movie?
Yeah, it was a Disney Channel
Oh,
movie.
I do remember that one. Oh man, yeah,
That's a favorite of Neil's. So maybe
nice.
we'll have to get him on. Okay,
We'll
I'll have
watch
to
some
write that
Halloween
down.
Town. Nice.
Get him on. We'll talk about Halloween Town.
That sounds fun.
That's good for the month.
Yeah,
I
there's some.
wonder if he can tell us any scientific knowledge about Halloween Town. We'll
there's
see what we can do. But that'll be
there's
upcoming.
there's quite a few old Disney Plus movies I'd like to. Well, not Disney Plus, old Disney movies that I hope are on Disney Plus. So I need to get that and check it out.
Oh, dude, when Disney Plus first dropped, everybody got it for The Mandalorian, basically. Some
Yeah.
people for the classic films and whatever, but it was like, oh, Mandalorian starting, Disney Plus is coming out, I'll get that.
Mm-hmm.
Then I think it was last Thanksgiving, Neil was visiting. So it was Neil, Shockey, and I just kind of hanging out, and we're getting
Uh-huh.
ready for Thanksgiving. We might have to have our buddy Shockey come on to talk about this story more in depth, but the night before Thanksgiving, he had to get his appendix out
Ooh, buddy.
at like 2 in the morning. But then he goes in like a champ, gets it taken care of, comes back. He was in charge of the turkey. He wanted to still be in charge of the turkey. And then both me and Neil just have a terrible like flu.
Oh man.
And so we go down to Thanksgiving. Both me and Neil just hang out on the couch like sick, and Shockey's sitting there on painkillers. just had his appendix removed, and like, we will celebrate Thanksgiving.
So thankful.
But we managed, and it ended up being kind of nice and a cozy little time with friends,
Hmm.
and just kind of them taking care of you. It was a nice feeling. But that rest of that weekend, we're all laid up on the couch, so we just burned through Disney Plus,
Oh, nice.
like just all the old movies. Like, all right, Mighty Ducks, or Richie Rich, or
blank
Heavyweights.
blank check.
Yep, I think we did
Paper
that one.
Brigade.
The what was the first kid?
Oh man,
See,
I forgot about that one.
the weirdest scene in there is where Sinbad like pulls the kid's pants down to show his ass to the news,
I do not recall.
and you're like, "What the fuck? That is wildly inappropriate, Sinbad."
that.
Well, I guess it was a
Bad
different
Sinbad.
time. That's not Sim good.
Sinbad.
Sinbad. Sim sad. Anyway, I'm sorry. We totally derailed that, but Halloween Town has got to happen. You saw Twitches?
Yeah, that was.
It's about meth?
No, it's a teenage witches. That's
Oh,
what I thought.
okay,
It definitely should be about meth.
Twitches.
Yeah.
That's like the name you have for the local meth head. He's
Yeah.
like running down the street with a bike tire. He's like, Twitches.
There goes Twitches again.
He just shrugs as he's running. What'd you expect? Is that the only Octobermoviefest film you've watched?
Well, I didn't even watch the whole thing. I just caught a little bit of it, and I also caught a little bit of Beetlejuice. Just like, somebody else was watching it. I was sitting there eating, watched like 20 minutes of it. So
That's a great October movie.
I know I want to watch that one all the way through. I was enjoying it.
And you know what makes me sad? We were talking just a little bit earlier about Tarantino holes and Coen Brothers holes and just going down their whole filmography.
Yeah.
I wish I could do that with Tim Burton. There was a certain point where he just became corporate Tim Burton.
Yeah.
And they just got gross. But he was one of my favorite filmmakers.
Yep.
Beetlejuice, the first two Batmans, Edward Scissorhands, Pee-wee's Big Adventure, Sleepy Hollow. That was last week. Like, I love his stuff, and I'm trying to think of what movie shifted it for me. I even really like Big Fish. I've never gone back and watched it, but
He did that one?
yeah,
Isn't that the Dave Barry novel?
I'm not sure. I don't know Dave Barry.
Oh shit.
He did the Nightmare Before Christmas is a good one. Then he did James and the Giant Peach, I think, and that's where I was like, meh. Maybe it's good in hindsight. And then where he really, really lost me, maybe it was Willy Wonka and the Chocolate Factory. I'll try to maintain my rage, but I can't stand that movie. Yeah, it is probably because I'm a purist for the original, but
yeah, I did not enjoy it as much. Nearly, yeah, I'm with you.
And when you heard that Tim Burton was going to do Willy Wonka and the Chocolate Factory, you're like, oh, awesome. He's probably going to do something really dark with it. And it'll be cool, and it'll have his set designs. And his set designs were like super cartoony in that. And then Johnny Depp is just like a wounded little girl.
Mm-hmm.
It was just the old man wasn't as good as the old man. Like the grandpa's so memorable in the original.
Yeah.
Anyway, I could keep going off on that, but
yeah.
Oh, and that was the other thing too. Danny Elfman, I love Danny Elfman, and the music for Willy Wonka was terrible.
Yep.
I love the guy who plays the Oompa Loompa. Deep Roy, I think, is his name. He played that one guy in Eastbound and Down.
Yeah, he's awesome.
What's his name in that? I always forget it.
I can't remember.
Oh, that'll drive me crazy. It'll come to me though. But yeah, they even screwed him up. He's
Yep.
like, he's not the most awesome Oompa Loompa ever, like he should be.
Yep. Wasn't great.
Oh, I remember the name. Aaron.
There you go.
So yeah, if you haven't seen season 2 of Eastbound and Down, or any of those seasons, actually,
So good.
you need to watch that. All right.
Good show. Well,
I guess we're kind of in a complaining mode today on the podcast.
it
Like,
happens.
climate change, this goddamn Willy Wonka movie.
Well, both are problems.
Get a fucking Tesla already. Anyway,
I was wrong. It is
let's,
not the Dave Barry, not the Dave Barry novel I was thinking. That is called Big Trouble, not Big Fish.
Trouble.
And Dave Barry is a humor columnist. He worked for the Miami Herald, maybe still does, but yeah, he's pretty funny. I have some of his books that are just collections of columns. So that book is interesting, pretty weird. And I think they made a movie out of it too, just not Tim Burton.
Yeah, I've been thinking about renewing my Audible account. I kind of miss listening to books on tape. That definitely is a good way to go through books like that, because I don't think I'd get to it if it was just part of my stack next to my bed.
Yeah,
it'll just sit there staring at me.
That'd be a good one to listen to for sure. It's entertaining. It's just a fun story. It's not like a deep, crazy novel or anything. It's just a good story.
Mm-hmm.
So,
that's a tiny little side note. If you are thinking about getting into books on tape or anything like that, something I didn't consider was, who is the person reading it? And is it telling you information that you're going to be able to retain? So the two biggest mistakes I made is I got a book by Neil deGrasse Tyson.
mm-hmm.
I think it was like Astrophysics for People in a Hurry. And that's the worst thing to get on tape, because he's talking about like bosons and da-da-da-da-da-da. And you're like, wait a minute. If I was in a book, I'd highlight that and look it up real quick. Like, what is that?
Yeah.
And just, no, it's just flying by. Great voice for reading a book, but I recommend getting the physical copy. And then the other one was Joan Rivers' autobiography. And Joan Rivers is great. One of the best stand-ups, probably top 10 ever. And yeah, she's reading the whole book, and it's Joan Rivers' voice.
Oh.
So you can't understand shit. You're like, what did she just say? She's like, oh my God, I grew up in my home, and it was a very lonely Jewish girl. My father loved me. And you're just like, That was really hard to pay attention to.
I thought you were going to say Gilbert Gottfried, so that's might be better than that.
Doesn't he read 50 Shades of Grey?
Yeah, I have heard that.
Pretty. I want to feel your hands inside.
It's too powerful. No one's listened to it yet.
Yeah. It'd be too much excitement.
Indeed.
Anyway, keep that in mind if you're getting a book on tape. I also found it, an American Werewolf in London soundtrack. In that movie, they play Blue Moon, Moon Dance, Bad Moon Rising, and a bunch of different versions of Blue Moon, I guess, now that I'm looking.
Well, dang, I'm going to have to add all those Moon songs. I like doing Moon songs.
Oh, yeah. I think Blue Moon, or no, Blue Velvet. That's what I was trying to think of. That's got to go into Psycho movie November. That's a little too, I don't know. Sorry. I'm all over the place today. Blue Velvet's great. Just go watch it, but it's really creepy. I was trying to think if it's a Halloween movie or not.
Not the Halloweeny vibe, just creepy.
But it's like drug trip, weird, sordid characters kind of thing.
Interesting.
But that has the song Blue Velvet, which is a great song.
Mm-hmm. I've heard that. Nice.
Anyways, what else you got for me today?
You ready for the weird news?
Yeah, I think it's get on to the weird news and wrap this puppy up.
Okay. So, maybe you've already seen this. I think it's a cool idea. Uh, they've introduced these new bathrooms in a public park in Tokyo.
Mm.
So they're transparent walls, but it's like they're not totally transparent all the time. They're like, as soon as you go inside, they, I, I don't know if it actually says how they work, but they like it goes like opaque, so you can't see through it anymore. So you can see through it, see inside, see that there's just there's nobody in there. It's lit up inside even when there's nobody in there.
It's like TV screens. It starts playing ads on the outside about toilet paper or something.
That doesn't. They're not screens. They just kind of go. You can't see through them anymore. It even looks like you can kind of like see a little bit, which that's kind of weird. But
silhouette.
Yeah, you can like see that there's somebody in there, I guess. But also,
yeah.
I don't know. It's kind of weird. Yeah, there's probably gonna be some hobo just hiding in a bush.
This is starting to turn into the panties inside a vending machine. I'm like, where's this going?
But yeah, that was pretty interesting. I mean, that's a good way to go. I guess if you're, live in a pretty sheltered little town, you don't have to be that scared about walking into a bathroom at night. I don't think anybody's ever been attacked in one around here, but in big cities, it's totally a thing.
Can you imagine having like one of those late night 2 a.m. Taco Bell runs? And then you wake up the next day and have a bunch of coffee at like a job interview. And then you're walking by and like, oh man, I got to use one of these outdoor restroom things. You go in there and you sit down. It goes opaque. Nobody can see. They could just see your silhouette. And then you flush and stand up. And then when it goes unopaque and clear, there's this shit floating like on the walls, just everywhere. You're like, oh my God. It's shit that's learned how to mime.
Yeah. We could write this movie for next October.
The shit mime. Oh, the shit mimes. Do you see them? They're a punk band.
Oh, I didn't catch that show.
Yeah, we'll have to see if they'll do a opening take.
Yeah, the only shit mime I've seen is just this guy's like, it's a box. See? It's a fucking box.
What's in the box? Well, I think that's about it, buddy.
Yeah, I said we wrap it up.
It was a good round. We'll try to get Neil on for this Halloween Town thing. Do we want to discuss the other project at all? Anything updating there?
I don't think there's anything new to announce. I think just kind of keep your eyes peeled for it. It's going to be coming soon.
Yeah, we've been kind of cooking up some ideas. So it's kind of at a nice simmer right now.
Yeah, you should start smelling something cooking, and pretty soon it'll be served.
Nice. All right. As always, just have a good week. Catch up on these movies. Enjoy your October, and keep your core small.
Yeah, you gotta keep it tight. Don't let the mantle split. It's important.
Yeah, try not to throw too many people into space either. Be a good person.
Yeah, space. You can't get it too crowded, or you end up with what we have now. We got space junk.
Space junk. All right. Well, it's been a good episode, and we'll talk to you next week.
Hey, thanks everybody.
Bye-bye. Thank you for listening to The Jacob Wayne Show. If you would like to contact us, please write us at fakkoshka@gmail.com. That is FAKOSHKA@gmail.com. You can find us on Spotify, iTunes, and YouTube. Simply search The Jacob Wayne Show and it should pop right up. Make sure you like and subscribe and leave a review and share this podcast with your friends. Please write us. It helps add content to the show and makes the show even better for you, the listener. Thanks for tuning in. Welcome to